go. Let's hope this works. Why is my camera not working? Hold on. Let's try this. We'll go here. Yeah, it's always nice when this. Let's see if this works. Nope. There we go. Oh, right. That's interesting stuff. Okay, well, good evening, everyone. It is New Year's Eve 2023. So I wanted to say hello to everyone, give everybody an update on what we can expect, not tonight necessarily, although we are going to talk about that. But we're going to talk about the weather as far as tonight goes, tomorrow, New Year's Day, and really more importantly, January 2024. So yes, I'm old. I remember back in the day, I would be out and about having a good time on New Year's Eve, but since I'm old, I'd rather just be right here and spend the evening at home with the lovely Mrs. Bickerstaff, and also to just with y'all, hopefully at least for a little bit. If I get some questions in the live stream, then I will, I will answer those. Hopefully. Hello, Trina. Yes, I'm loving this cooler weather. Well, you're about to get more cooler weather, Trina. The cold front. No, I don't want to. Hold on. I don't want to update my software right now. Thank you. Got that notification. That always funny how the notification always happens when you're doing a live stream. It's never when you don't when you're doing something else. But I will forego that until until I sign off. So, got a couple updates, as you can probably tell. At least I hope you can tell. I have a new camera for Christmas. Again, thank you to the lovely Mrs. Bickerstaff for getting me that for Christmas. It's a nice Canon, let's see, EOS R50, if I got that right. So, it's a kind of a mid-line camera, not the beginner camera, but certainly not the highfalutin camera, as we used to say. But it's cool. It's really cool. You can use it as a webcam, and that's what I'm trying out tonight. It's a little bit better than a typical webcam, hopefully. Feel free to let me know what it looks like. So just wanted to kind of test that out, take an opportunity to talk about the weather tonight into tomorrow, and then really the main reason for wanting to come on, other than testing my new stuff, is to kind of let you know what to expect in January, especially the first, probably starting in the second week in January and maybe even to the third week in January. We're really going to see a cold snap, really is what it comes down to. And I don't think it's going to be anything, earth shattering, record breaking, anything like that. But it's going to be colder. So I wanted to show you that graphically here in a minute. Hello, Angela. Happy New Year to you, my friend. Garrett says you are older than he is. Yes, that is true, unfortunately. Or fortunately for him. Yes, I am older than he is. But hopefully he still feels as old as I do tonight. No, I'm just kidding. I don't actually feel old. If I felt if I felt really old, I would probably not be even doing this. I'd be sitting in my chair doing nothing. So anyway, so I hope y'all like the new camera and don't have a whole lot of other things to show you that you haven't already seen. But wanted to kind of take this opportunity to, again, for those of y'all who may be just joining us, going to talk about the weather tonight and tomorrow and really this week. I did a short video on that earlier this afternoon. So if you didn't catch that, you can catch that on your favorite social media channel at Jeff Bickerstaff for the most part, if you're trying to find that. So let's talk about the short term stuff. Let's talk about tonight. So hopefully all this new gadgetry will work. And let me switch over here. There we go. All right. Well, that's actually, I was going to show you that a little bit later. So we're going to do this on the fly because I did not do a bunch of slides. So let's see if this will work. That's pretty small, so let's try this. I'm going to blow the screen up a little bit more. I think that'll work better for what we want. There we go. Okay. So this is the graphic that the National Weather Service office in Fort Worth did earlier today. And if you don't already know, if you haven't stepped outside lately, the cold front has moved through most of the Metroplex. I think if you're really south of I-20, it may be oozing in. And that's really kind of what it's doing. It's not this big blustery cold front that kind of just blows on through. And the wind immediately becomes 20, 30 miles an hour. Although, looking at my weather station, Yeah, it's about 10 miles an hour, so it's definitely picked up a little bit. So it's gonna feel cold. So if you are not old like me and you're out and about tonight, then it will be cold, that's for sure. And as we get closer to midnight, hopefully I'll be able to make it to midnight. As we get closer to midnight, then it's really gonna feel cold outside, probably wind chills in the 30s. So when you're leaving any festivities you might be going to, then just make sure you take your jacket. Heavier jacket, really. Just make sure, don't be shocked if you walk outside. It's really cold. Now, as far as tomorrow goes, the kind of the graphic on the right there, it is going to be blustery and chilly. Not like today, and certainly not like yesterday. Hope you had a chance to go outside yesterday, and even today. Really nice. Probably the nicest weather we're going to see, in a pure sense, for a little bit. It's going to be cold and have periodic storm systems move through. We'll talk about that in a second this week. And then we'll also talk about the bigger picture about as far as the cold weather. So, speaking of that, so let's just look at Tuesday here. So Tuesday is our next chance for severe weather. Not severe weather. Oh, there's a Freudian slip for you. There's the next chance for rain. So we're in this El Nino pattern that we've talked about, or I've talked about in the fall, and it's kind of playing out its course. We're going to be in this pattern at least for next week. We're going to be in this pattern where these cold fronts, little disturbances move through about every 2 or 3 days. And then you're going to see the system move in. You're going to see showers, maybe a rumble of thunder or something like that. Then the system will move out, have a couple days of nice weather, cool but nice weather, and then you'll have another system move in. So the first system that's going to move in is on Tuesday. I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of rain with that, probably quarter to a half inch for most of us. So not as much as we saw this last time, that's for sure. And that last system we had before Christmas, we had almost 3.5 inches of rain at my house. So that was a that was a pretty good soaker. So that is something that we're not going to see with this system. Like I said, some isolated thunderstorms are possible, but everything's going to move out Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning. So it's going to be nice between from Wednesday, Thursday, but then the next system is going to move through on Friday. And that system has a chance to produce more rain than this system that's going to move in on Tuesday. So that's something we want to watch. Probably you might be talking about an inch of rain then, but widespread. It's going to be cool. Temperature's probably going to be in the 40s on Friday, so that's not going to be fun. That's for sure. But again, it's January, and when it rains, you have that system move in January. That's just kind of what it is. It's just kind of cloudy, crappy, and rainy and miserable outside. So that's not that unusual. So that's kind of the short-term look at things. And as we get into the next week in January, the second week in January, which starts the 8th, that's when things get a little interesting. All right, so I wanted to show you this, and I'll show you several different graphics here. So this is, let's see, this is a GFS model, and this is a temperature map. For this case, it's for Saturday, January 13th. So you see this high temperature forecast for Dallas-Fort Worth, and hopefully you can see it. Matter of fact, I think I can use my fancy tools and draw on this. Yeah, that's DFW right there, so that's 28. For a high, that's that's not very warm for us. If you just in case you were wondering, the normal high temperature for January 13th is about 55 degrees, so that would be quite a departure from normal. Now that's a GFS. So if you go to the Canadian model, it gets a little more interesting, and we'll zoom in on this. Get you. Well, can we do? Yeah. Nope. Can't. Okay. There's not a regional map for this one. Okay, that's what I thought. All right. So again, for that time period, you see 22 degrees. So they're trending a little bit colder. I was trying to see if I go back to 21. Yeah. So on Wednesday, the 10th, this model, the Canadian model, has the temperature at DFW at 21. So as you could tell, that's pretty chilly for even for January standards. I'm sorry, that was not the Canadian model. This is the Canadian model, and I think I can zoom in regionally here. Yep, I can. And okay, so it doesn't go quite that far out. So this is Monday. So again, Monday you can see temperatures in the 40s. So Let's try the UK model. Yeah, they don't go out that far. And that's not what I want either. I don't think any of these other models are going to go out. Let's see, that far. The ensembles, I think they will. All right, so let's see if I can find. That's Saturday. It's still Saturday. Okay, that is Friday. Let's try find Wednesday here. There we go. And they're trending. Yeah, it's Thursday. All right, so their coldest. The ensemble has us coldest at. Sorry, going back and forth real fast. At 33. So, it's not something that's terribly concerning from a deep cold snap or anything like that. It's just going to be a lot colder, relatively speaking, than it has been this past couple weeks. The week between this past week between Christmas and New Year's, as you remember, was very nice for the most part. And we had these cold front intrusions, but they were all dry. And so that's why the same type pattern didn't have a lot of moisture to work with, obviously. But of course, this next week's going to have the same type pattern where you're going to have these disturbances move through every 2, 3, 4, 5 days. But then we have a lot more moisture to work with. And as we get into this colder pattern in January, especially the middle part of January, that's where the moisture might get interesting. I don't foresee right now, I don't foresee a lot of winter precipitation for us, but let's find out what we got. All right, so this is the precipitation type model, and this is it just fell on Wednesday the 10th, and you don't see a lot. Go back a little bit. So you see. All right, so this is Tuesday. So you see this low pressure system out in New Mexico is going to move our way. Now, what we're thinking is you can kind of look at these individual frames. The system wants to kind of meander around in Mexico, and then it's going to move on out. So this particular model doesn't really call for a lot of precipitation in that scenario. Let's see what the GFS calls for precipitation-wise. I want to say, what is that? That's Thursday. We'll back that up a little bit. Again, I haven't seen any. It's a pretty big storm system there in Iowa, that's for sure. So this is Wednesday the 10th. Yeah, let's see. So this is what's interesting about this particular model because. I think I can make this a little bigger. Yep. So right now, that's the low pressure. That's 978 millibars. That's a pretty low pressure for a mid-latitude cyclone, as we call them. And so it's something that is pretty intense, as you can see at that with that track of the low. The snow would be mainly in the Panhandle up into Panhandle, Texas, and Oklahoma, and then up into western Kansas. Now. Not saying it's going to do that, but if this were to track this way, or probably a better way to do it would be if the low that's here a couple of days before that, if it were to go like this, that's when it would get really, really interesting. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but again, this is more than a week out. These models do change. Now they're usually pretty good in a general sense, but I'm just saying. So this is Wednesday the 10th, so not this coming Wednesday, but the Wednesday after that. So it's just something to keep in mind as far as it's the weather that the weather pattern that we are in. That is for sure in January. All right, so let's erase that there. All right, let's see, because that was the GFS. I don't know that there's. I'm trying to think. I don't think the ensemble. They might. Let's go here. No, I don't want that one. Yeah, this one goes out pretty far. Yeah, we should have precipitation on here. Yeah, so this is the. I like this model because it does show um, snowfall depth in a general sense. So again, this is North Texas. We all get excited when models show us snow and nothing really happens. So let me just preface that. I think I can zoom in on this. Let's see. Yep. Okay. So this is Monday, January 8th. So not a big deal, right? So, and by the way, this is total snowfall. So this is something that would accumulate over time. So probably the best thing to do here is to put this in motion, starting from the beginning, which of course was this past weekend. And it's going to take a little bit. So you can see as the storm systems get close, you do see some more snowfall that kind of starts to accumulate. And again, this is the grand total, not any one particular storm system. And as you can see, if this were to pan out, then Oklahoma would definitely see at least an inch or two of snow. And then as these systems want to creep closer in latitude to North Texas, that's when you see at least our snow chances increase. And let's see, yeah, this is. Let me stop this here in a second. So this runs through basically the end of the month, January. And I'll stop it right there. So, so you can see that if this particular model were to play out, to me it's the worst case scenario, then you would see an inch and a half of snow here, which again that's a total accumulated snow from basically from today until the end of the month. So as you can tell, that's not doesn't really mean a whole lot. And now this is the total snow depth in its entirety. Let's just get to the end. Let's see. Go. Yeah, even though it's going to be, I guess the bottom line is, even though it's going to be cold, it doesn't mean that we're going to have these big winter storm systems. Now, having said that, that's the thing. These models are, I'm not coming out here tonight just to say, hey, it's going to snow, because I know some people like to do that. And I try to make sure that, when I do come on, certainly during severe weather episodes, of course, we're talking about severe weather. That's, a very much in the now type thing. These type updates are more just in general sense. Hey, it's winter. We're gonna have a cold snap. I think that's pretty much a given. Probably starting probably next weekend at the beginning, probably, and then some cold air masses will continue to creep down into North Texas. Definitely has some precipitation with them, but will it be cold enough for snow? For us, most likely not. However, if you remember that one slide I showed you that had the low pressure system in Kansas, and that was on Wednesday, the 10th, January 10th, then that is something that if it were to be further south, which it also could go further north, that would greatly change the forecast for the week after next. So I think the bottom line for me is this: when you look at these long range models, are what they are. They're long range models. However, they do give us an idea of what we can expect in a general sense. And so I do think that it's definitely going to get colder between now and the middle of the month. That's for sure. Will we have a system that, times up to where we have moisture and colder weather, colder temperatures enough to where it would snow? Yeah, that's chances are no, because that's climatology for North Texas. But it's definitely something to bear watching. And I think we'll know a lot more about our chances for any precipitation with the colder temperatures this time next week, which would make a lot of sense, because then we'd only be a couple of days away from the event. Just wanted to give everybody a heads up on, is it a possibility we could see some quote-unquote winter weather the week after next? It could. Right now, is that likely? No, it's not likely. But it is. I tell you what is likely. It is likely to be cold, and you're going to start to get a taste of that tomorrow. Really tonight, if you stepped outside. matter of fact. Let's see. Yeah, 48 degrees at my house. The wind's not too strong, really. It's been averaging about 10 miles an hour, but this temperature's definitely dropped. It was 66 at 3 o'clock, so you can tell it's definitely getting colder. So, all right. So I don't see a lot of comments. Well, actually, I addressed all. I said a lot of comments. Other than from Trina and Angela, I don't see any other comments. So I know it's New Year's Eve, so I don't expect a lot of people to be glued to their computer. But I thought that, or your phone really, or your tablet or your device of choice, however you want to look at it. Matter of fact, while I'm wrapping it up, let me go back to simpler graphics here. And actually, yeah, I did want to talk about this real quick. So this was interesting, and this is something that the National Weather Service office in Fort Worth put out a couple of days ago, I think originally. So the 2023 climate tidbits. This is the last night of the 2023 year, and so it's me being a weather geek, it's nice to look back on the weather we had in North Texas in 2023, and it was definitely quite the wild ride. I will definitely say that. Probably wilder than I wanted it to be because it didn't rain a whole lot during the summer, and that always causes a lot of problems. But just hit the highlights here. You saw the 113 in Mineral Wells. Probably one of the more interesting headlines for me as a weather geek is thank you, Jeff Sorensen. Appreciate that. You're welcome. Was the all-time record high dew point tide, and that was 80 degrees, and that was tied back in June. And you think about that, and the dew point, of course, is a measure of moisture in the atmosphere. The relative humidity is a little different in the sense it measures moisture, but it's relative to the temperature. To whereas a dew point just is the temperature it takes to if the temperature and the dew point are the same, that's when you get fog. In a rough sense. And so when you have 80-degree dew point, that is about as humid as it gets around here, unless you've been to the beach. And then of course you can see dew points in the mid 80s at the beach, in the Gulf Coast. But so that was interesting. Did it twice on June 15th and June 21st. Now on the other end of the scale, in our cold snap last January, 17 degrees was the coldest in North Texas. That was at Eastland, Texas. Of course, had a lot of ice in Central Texas in February. Not so much for us. Had a little bit. And then, so this is another interesting tidbit that I find with what varies around North Texas is our precipitation. And, I think most of you that have lived here your whole life know that the further west you go, the less it rains, and the further east you go, the more it rains in general. So Breckenridge, they got 21 inches, almost 22 inches, well, 21.47 inches for the whole year, which is about 8 inches below their normal. Excuse me. Now, on the flip side, on the other side of the North Texas, Cooper Dam at Cooper Lake, 56.65, which is actually about almost 11 inches above their normal. So you can see that 21 inches on the western side of western side of North Texas and 56. So that's over a 30 inch difference, which is crazy because if you think about it, DFW Airport, their normal rainfall in a year is around 31, 32 inches a year. So the difference between the two is what DFW would get in a whole year. So just a little interesting tidbit there. And unfortunately for the people in Sanger, we did have a new regional record for the size hailstone, 5.9 inches, almost 6-inch hail. Now, you think about that. Now, luckily, there wasn't a ton of those size hailstones falling, but still, obviously, there were really big ones around it. The Great Wiley hailstorm of 2016, those were mostly 4.5-inch hailstones. So if you could just, as bad as that was, and it was bad, you can just imagine add 2 inches in diameter to that, and that's what fell in Sanger this summer. Or this spring, I should say. So that is one big hailstone, that is for sure. All right, so I don't see a whole lot there. Let's see. I think I could pull my weather station up. Yeah, we'll make this a little bigger. We'll see what's doing at my house here real quick. All right, so yeah, 48.6, had a wind gust of 17 out of northeast. That's not unusual. It's the cold front coming through. So like I said, I think tonight or tomorrow morning when you wake up, I guess it depends on when you wake up. If you wake up around sunrise, it'll be about 34 degrees. Gonna be a lot colder tomorrow. Breezy, temperatures close to 50, really. Back down to freezing Monday night, New Year's Day night, and then Tuesday 52. So it's gonna be cool the rest of the week. For the most part, as I talked about before, for those of y'all just joining us. So with that, as I said, I appreciate everyone watching as always. As I mentioned in the very beginning, had a couple of toys I got for Christmas, thanks to the lovely Mrs. Pickerstaff. And so one is the, matter of fact, we'll go back to that. There we go. So one is what you're watching me on right now is this nice Canon camera I got. So it's really cool. And I really hope to use it more in the field. And I've talked about that before, and I will tell you, it's interesting because I think one of the things that has held me back in doing a lot of field work, and not necessarily, certainly not the fear of anything, because I love being out there, is the equipment and trying to bring you the best, when I do go out there, to bring you the best quality stream I can. And that's much more challenging in the field than it is here, because here, you have high-speed internet connection, it's pretty stable, and you could just, it's not that big a deal. But when you're in the field, then you're obviously dependent on cell networks and things like that. And while I don't think anybody would expect it to be a perfect stream the whole time, I definitely want to do some enhancements to take advantage of multiple cell networks at the same time to help bond that. That way, the signal would be a little stronger most of the time. So working on that, this camera will go a long way in helping me do that. Not the signal part, but just the quality of the picture. And it will definitely give me more options. And so so I hope to see the camera out in the field along with me, of course, as we go into the spring. So we shall see. So hopefully more of that. And of course, as always, I'll be here updating you on severe weather, as I always have. And again, hopefully, with the new equipment I got, will help us do that as well. It's, as you know, for those of y'all who have known me for a long, long time, going back to middle school even. And by the way, I think most of my middle school peeps know, but those of y'all who went to Sellers, Mr. Holmes did pass away a couple weeks ago. And so it was, back in those days that I first had a appreciation for the weather. One of the reasons I went to A&M initially, majoring in meteorology, differential equations and physics kind of did me in, but I did get my initial storm spotter certification from the National Weather Service office. It was in Houston there at the time. And then, I'm sorry, it was actually, if you don't, the National Weather Service actually had an office in Waco back in the day, and before Dallas Fort Worth took it over, and before they merged a lot of offices. But I got it from them, so because they were the ones that had the Bryan College Station area back in the day, as far as responsibility for warnings and things like that. So it turned into that, and I've been doing that ever since. And so I do really enjoy doing severe weather updates and just keep you updated on the weather too. So I'll wrap it up with this. Some of y'all have made notice over the holidays. I did start doing, I did some morning weather reports. I've been doing that for a little while, but did a little bit more video than I have before, especially outside. I'm kind of constantly playing with that and seeing how that goes. So you may see some different evolutions of that. So hopefully you'll continue to see that, especially when school gets going back up, not this week, but next. That's a fun thing to do, but that's also a time constraint as well. I probably won't have time to do it every single morning, but I'll definitely make an effort to do it. That's for sure. And so I appreciate the feedback I've gotten on that. Other than that, I think that's about it. So catch me on your favorite social media channel, platform, whatever you want to call it. So if you're on Facebook, most of you know me from that. Jeff, I think technically if you typed it in the web browser, it's Jeff W. Bickerstaff. Twitter's Jeff Bickerstaff, at Jeff Bickerstaff. Let's see, Snapchat would be, I think it's Jeff Bickerstaff, I think. It might be Bickerstaff J5, something like that. Instagram is Jeff Bickerstaff 91. Some people ask me what 91 means. That's the year I graduated from A&M with my bachelor's, just FYI. That's why the other Jeff Bickerstaff was taken at the way back when. And yeah, that kind of covers most of the social media channels. Of course, YouTube at Jeff Bickerstaff. And by the way, for the younger audience, I am on Twitch. That's AggieMan91. So you can find me pretty much on any social media channel or your favorite social media channel of choice. I'll put it that way. All right, so I don't see any other comments in the chat. So with that, I will wrap it up. And again, I want to wish everyone a very happy new year for 2024. I hope 2024 is awesome for all of you, myself included, of course. You know, very blessed. Have a lovely family, and just very blessed to be able to do what I do. Whether it's doing weather, whether it's being mayor, quite frankly, just being a father and a dad. Um, you know, and a husband. So it's very, very fortunate to do that because I know not everybody is blessed enough to be able to say that. But I've had a great support group and let me do all these different things, and hopefully that will continue in 2024. Happy New Year, Jeff Sorensen, to you. Uh, I will tell you, Jeff, it's been a long time since our Garland High School Mighty Owl Band days, hadn't it? Oh gosh, for those of y'all who don't know, although most of you probably do, my kiddos followed myself and actually Leslie too um, into the band tradition. For those of y'all who don't know, the lovely Mrs. Pickerstaff went to Lakeview Centennial High School, graduated in '89. Garland High School grad here, of course, Mighty Owl Band, graduated in 1987. Both of us were in our respective marching bands, and we did not force our kids. I promise, we did not force our kids to be in band. They wanted to do it, so Emily, my oldest, and Allison, my middle, both played French horn, mellophone, euphonium, whatever they call that. Then Nathan, my youngest, sophomore at Saxony High School, he plays tuba in the marching band. So, you can catch me if the weather's not your thing, then you can, and band is, then you can catch me doing Saxony High School Mustang Band. I'm very fortunate to be the voice of the Mustang Band, so great time doing that stuff at halftime. Your trumpet still rule. Yeah, that's, I don't know, Jeff. I'm kind of partial to clarinets, but no, y'all definitely did rule, that's for sure. There's always more y'all, so I guess maybe by default, I'm not sure. Oh gosh, I do remember those rivalries between not just instruments, but even the brass and woodwinds. That was kind of funny, and percussion. Mr. Odie Hume, I'm sure Jeff remembers him. Um, he was band president our senior year, my senior year, and so every time I see him, which is not a whole lot, but he's in Wiley, and his kiddos were in band with that Wiley band. And I still call him President Emeritus because he was president of the mob back in the day. And hey, once you're president, you you don't ever lose that title. So I call him President Emeritus of the Mighty Owl Band. So Otis, if you're watching, Odie, excuse me. I want to call you by your formal name. If you're watching or you watch it later, just hello, my friend. Hello, President Emeritus. Those were fun days, and hopefully, I've thought about this for a while, and I've talked to this with Renee Lance, Renee Rylander, for those who knew her in band. Before the pandemic hit, we were talking about doing a Mighty Owl Band reunion, and that's to do it right. That's quite an undertaking. So it's something that would take a lot of work, but it really would be nice to see. Some really good friends that I haven't seen in a long time and shared experiences and all that. So, I do have a busy schedule, that's for sure, but hopefully that's something that we can put together at sometime in the near future, because that would sure be fun. I think any parent that was in marching band when they were in high school, if you've been fortunate enough to kind of relive some of that through your kiddo, then that's a pretty cool thing. And marching band is a very unique experience, and if you get it, you get it, and if you don't, you don't, and that's okay, because it's a lot of fun and a lot of work, a lot of hard work, but it's something that I have always enjoyed, and it's fun to got 2 more years of it with my son. Have Mr. Long direct us. Yeah. Jeff, it's funny you say that because I can't remember who I was talking to. This has been it might have been before the pandemic, but so there was this thought, and I kind of saw this at A&M when I was there. Of course, obviously, the core of cadets and the band is a totally different animal. But they do have their alumni band. Not that often, but every now and then. Like I know this is a way back, but when the band turned 100, they had all their alumni come back and do a show at halftime of one of the A&M games, and so part of me thinks, hey, well, why can't we do that? And then the other parts of me thinks, yeah, I know why we can't do that. But that sure would be fun to try, though. I have to admit. So, if you're gonna do something, do it all the way, right? So who knows? That would be a lot of fun. And we hopefully none of us, if we got out there, we hurt ourselves, but we might. Who knows? It'd be a lot of fun, that's for sure. But yes, Mr. Long is still around. Mr. Hanna's birthday, for those of y'all who had Mr. Hanna, his birthday was not too long ago, and I know he's still around too. So just fun memories. And so, yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll make that happen. All right. So for all you people that don't care about band, apologize for that. But Jeff is my buddy. And so it's always fun to relive stuff with that. Okay. So I don't see anything else on the chat. So with that, in summary, if you're just joining us, sorry, you missed everything, but you can always rewatch it. So in summary, it's this: cold fronts come through. The wind's going to pick up gradually tonight, and then go bottom out in the low 30s tonight, tomorrow morning. Breezy, temperatures in the 50s, much colder than it has been the last couple of days. I say much colder, actually not technically much. It's going to feel a lot colder. And then we're going to have rain chances on Tuesday, and then again on Friday. And then the second week in January is when it gets cold. Not anything brutally cold, but just below normal, that's for sure. Not any big snow chances, anything like that. Frozen precipitation. It's just something that if the systems and low pressure system works out, or just kind of varies a little bit from its forecasted track, then you never know. That would be the second week in. Actually, I guess it'd be second week in January. I was thinking third, but second week in January. So anyway. All right, with that, as always, I'm watching the weather so you don't have to. Hope everyone has a wonderful New Year's Eve, a happy New Year's 2024, and we will talk to you soon.